This is the Variety Sports Network, created for the fans, by the fans. Now to your host of tonight's show.
And welcome to another episode of the Talkin the Gridiron Week 4 edition here in the Clutch Studios here, brought to you by Row 1 Brand. And I got the usual suspects with me so far. I got Brian the Main Man Johnson, and of course, Jimmy Pilato from Far Under the Bench, staying busy as ever. I saw doing shows left and right. Got to respect the hustle there, sir. Week 4, and then we'll get into a lot of different things here. We'll do a little grieving with you hopefully today too. Maybe give you a little hope here going into the season. Me and Brian, we've talked about it, right? We got to come in softer this week, and we're going to go there with it. But with that said, Jimmy, how you doing, sir?
There's no need to come in soft because the hoodie is intentional. This will be my 8 Mile episode. The Bengals suck. They're not going to be the contender in the AFC this year, unfortunately for everybody. Injuries, people not playing well, people not playing up to the standard that we thought was there. So that's my 8 Mile thing. So now anything that you guys say, I've already said because that was god awful. I gave it a 1.25. And then after like the fourth time that Burrow had a pass flutter 15 yards downfield because he was getting absolutely clotheslined from hell from like 18 different guys on the Titans D line. I watched Yellowstone instead. I'm trying to get my girlfriend caught up where we can start watching it live. I was like, yeah, it's too much. It's not even worth it right now.
It's funny how football does that to you. You can just see it with your team, and when they're getting
hockey season starts. Hockey season has started. The Avs are 1-2 in preseason. Regular season starts this month.
Part of the bench, hockey season as they're ramping it up.
Hockey and basketball season. Banner goes up October 24th.
There was kind of usually we do game of the day to start, Brian and Jimmy here, but there wasn't like a ton of games. Like in the morning there was a couple, right? But then they kind of like blew out a little bit late in that half. I think the one that obviously was the game of the day when most people look at it was Eagles Commanders. Maybe you could also I'll have another one here in a minute too, but that's kind of the first one I'll start out here with. The Eagles, I guess the question is like, they still have the solid record, right? They're getting the points on offense. Maybe their defense is showing some signs that they didn't last year. I don't know, Jimmy. Last week we said we were a little concerned about them. After a game like this where it seems like Hurts showed a little emotion, got the team back into it a little bit. I don't know. What do you think about this game? And maybe the Commanders actually showing some life after a pathetic effort last week.
The Commanders and Eagles matchup is a weird one. And I was thinking about this last year too. That was the team that took them out of the undefeated ranks that nobody was expecting. It was the Commanders that ended their streak. So I thought, they were a live dog. The Eagles are still, it's growing pains, but they're getting better every single week. It's hard to say because it is the Commanders, but Washington, at least so far this season, has been giving people a lot of headaches. They had the 21-point comeback against Denver, able to win that game. They always play the Eagles close, and Sam Howell, he's not there yet where he's going to be a playoff quarterback, but he's showing really good flashes. Like, I wouldn't be disappointed if I was a Washington fan. Like, if Terrell is listening in his Redskins hat, which doesn't exist anymore, I would be probably pretty excited for what I'm seeing. It doesn't look terrible, and you're going to get, if you're not that successful this season, you'll get another weapon to put around your new quarterback. That seems like he's going to work out. So,
and Ron Rivera teams always seem to go 8-8, 9 they always seem to be like.
I think he's a perfect. Now he's got one more loss, but he was a perfect 88 and 88 or something weird like that. He was like a Jeff Fisher 2.0, where he's 100, completely 500.
Brian, are you still think they look pretty legit offensively? Hurts. I mean, the numbers are there. 319. It did come down to the overtime field goal. The Commanders had a great chance to win today. Maybe we look at this game a little different. We're talking about the Eagles a little differently, but you still feel like their offense is just going to be so powerful that they're going to be right there.
I don't know. I'm still a little bit amiss on this team. Like they dominated the Bucs, but they came out today a little bit disappointing. It's like, I feel like you should be playing better than this.
Jimmy, maybe what was it, the tush push, whatever that's called, got in their head a little bit. What do you think about that play? I heard you guys a little bit discuss it, but you think it's illegal, right?
It's legal. They thought that they wanted to take it out. It would make no sense to take it out. That is a play. I mean, because the Jets tried it today and it didn't work. It is stoppable. The Eagles are just really good at it. Like Jeff Statler, the offensive line coach, practices that play. Practices getting his guys in rugby scrum and moving forward. So they're just better than everybody else at it. And it kind of makes me laugh. And it kind of makes me a little disappointed that everybody wants to take it out instead of trying to figure out a way to beat it. You just got to be able to beat them.
Big loss for the Commanders standings wise. They go to 2-2, would have pushed them to 3-1, would have been a tie there. So obviously, come long term here, that's going to be a big loss to them if they have any chance getting back to it. I know it's still core.
You can't think they're going to win the division. They're a wild card team at best.
But it's one of those games where you're like thinking a lot differently. Like, oh, they're 3-1 now, and they beat what at Philadelphia? Like, maybe not saying like long term, but it's a big win. And maybe it does come down to at least a wild card spot. Maybe that's the thing where it can kill them a little bit more. Division, you're probably right. They're not going to get anything there with it. The other game of the day, I thought this one was on locally here, so I got to check it out a little bit when I made my way over to my parents' house for the afternoon, or right before the afternoon, was that Rams game. They were up 23. They come back, Jimmy. The Colts come back with Richardson now back in there. They come back, tie the game up. Some interesting plays in halftime. That rookie wide receiver comes through, and Stafford looks good. And I mean, like, to me, like I said, they're both 2-2, but like the Rams to me are starting to look a little bit better. And with Kupp maybe coming back at some point, maybe there is this explosive side of them again.
It's still tough for me to say. I need to see it back with Kupp, because when you reintroduce Kupp to the offense, is he going to start making Puka less effective? Like right now, he got the game ball for the end of the day because he's doing historical things. He's having an historical beginning to his career. But I don't know if that's going to totally solve everything. They're a good team. They're frisky. They could be a wild card. They're a team that you don't want to see down the stretch of the season because it's going to be a fist fight going into the playoffs. You may be qualified for the playoffs. They may or may not be fighting for their lives, and they're going to be frisky. But I don't think they're – I haven't seen enough, and I watched them directly last Monday play against the Bengals, and I saw it there. Like, that defense, the Bengals defense, was able to shut them down when they wanted to. Trey Hendrickson looked like Von Miller in his prime. Just, backup tackle, thank you.
That pass rush became unfair. That was unfair. You guys needed a few Mississippis just to make the game a little bit more interesting at that point.
Just have to hold them on the line 1, 2, but then you still won't ever get your hands on Trey Hendrickson because I wish I could get all of my guys, all the little kids that I coach, to watch him when they were talking about pass rush, because his swipe literally starts from his hips and he just waxes on, waxes off. Boom, Miyagi karate.
He's unreal. I mean, that performance he's put it out against that backup made you think like right there, like, all right,
he looked good against the Titans today. Of the few bright spots, him and I think Logan Wilson are probably the two that are consistent. But
Brian, with this win here, Indy could have gone 3-1. Yeah, that's like I said, like in that division, that's a big. You could have gone 3-1, and you come back from 23. I always feel like when you make that comeback, it's good, but like, man, you finish it off like that's like such a moral, like such a big win right there. I don't know. We'll see if the Colts do it. Jimmy, what do you think about that with like the Colts coming back? You think that's like it gives them any steam here a little bit, or the loss kind of takes that all away?
No, I see it very similar to the way I saw Houston.
Gotcha.
Last week, where it was unexpected. I mean, it happens in the NFL, especially when you have other high-level professional athletes, but I'm not expecting anything. It doesn't change my expectations of what I'm seeing from the team. It's just cool. You got a big moment. That was almost really cool, but I don't know if Anthony Richardson is going to survive with the way that you guys use him, and it just doesn't seem like it's sustainable.
11 for 25, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, took 4 sacks. Or 2 sacks for 4 yards, but then he ran the ball also 10 times for 56 yards and a touchdown. So Jimmy's right. He's going to take a lot of hits. There's probably a low chance that Richardson makes it through the season here.
Yeah, he's gonna take a really bad hit, and
he's gonna take
concussion protocol again.
And he's already survived a couple close calls, so I think we're getting, you know what I mean. So
I'm picturing. You guys remember Matt Moore when he was with Miami? He got absolutely smoked by the Pittsburgh guy and tried to stand up. He just, what? Where? Who am I? What exactly is going on right now? Why are you shining a light in my face? I'm not. That's just fun.
No, that was a good one. And the other games I got here for best of the rest here is I got real quick here. I wanted to touch on Josh Allen. He gets 4 TDs. Jimmy, we talked about the Dolphins last week. That started the show here, and then we get that. You know what I mean? And then they end up getting blown out themselves. Basically, 48-20 was the final score. I believe that was the final score. 48-20. So Allen looks really good again. Now the Bills kind of make a little statement there, I feel like.
They did, and I think they're still pushing. You can't count them out for the top of that division, but the injuries, Jordan Poyer not being available, it's a cool thing to see DeMar Hamlin possibly back playing because it's just unexpected. But the injuries to the secondary, this team has to try and stay as healthy as possible because as talented as they are, they're not one of the deeper rosters. It's not like you can put in whoever and the Bills still look like the Bills. If they're missing key pieces on defense like Milano, like they had last season, Poyer not playing, Micah Hyde, those are big holes that you have to fill, and I don't know if they have the players to. I think that's what hurt them down the stretch last season, and right now their depth is still showing at like a 4 out of 10.
Right. I mean, their defense too. Their defense looks like it's a little leaky there, Johnson. It's a little
Is
leaky.
Von Miller back?
Yeah, but good news. Von Miller got cleared to practice, so he should be coming back pretty soon.
He makes a whole hell of a lot of difference, even being 36. That is.
Yeah, just in time for a little struggle right now, right, Jimmy? He comes back, saves the day, gets a little pass. And they have elite corners, supposedly, right? That's who they have, like with
they're
Howard.
Supposed to, yeah.
And Ramsey.
Well, their secondary, like 1 through 4, just your normal secondary corners and safeties were, I think at one point, all Pro Bowlers, or like 3 out of 4 were all Pro, at least first or second team. So now not having that, I worry about them because down the stretch you're going to see a team that can stop Josh Allen. You're not always going to have Stephon Diggs go for 160 yards. That's why a receiver doesn't necessarily guarantee you a shot at any postseason success. It might be fun to watch during the regular season, but what has Justin Jefferson won? What has Jamar Chase won? One AFC championship. That's it.
That's fair. Brian, I hope they have the Dolphins, the Bills at Dolphins on primetime sometime when they beat later in the year. That game needs to be on primetime.
How bad does that say the Broncos are? Because we thought that the Dolphins might have been this offensive juggernaut. No, the Broncos just sucked that bad that day. To let 70 get put on you?
Gosh. I mean, that's like one of those you can't live that as a team here. Another one I got for best. Go ahead.
I was listening to Mark Schlereth's podcast, and it was funny because it's unfiltered then. He was watching the film of the Broncos game. He's delayed on his flight. He has his headphones in. He's watching like third quarter when Tua had his first incompletion from last weekend. Corner gets up and wags his finger like, nope, not up in here. And apparently Schlereth is just sitting on the plane. He goes, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what? Oh, yeah, no, I know the delay was terrible. He's like, oh, no, it's not the plane. It's just the Broncos. I'm just pissed at the Broncos. He was saying Shanahan would have canceled their flight. They would have been busing back from Miami. So you guys better leave because we canceled the flights, and you guys got about a 3-day drive back to the facility.
Or you do what the guy from what was our favorite movie here, Jimmy, right? Miracle. Just have him run on the field after the game forever. Just have him run on the field
again.
100-yard dashes forever.
Again.
Sir, stop.
He wants to close. He wants to close down the ring. Tell him to leave the key. I'll lock up.
That would be Mike Shanahan probably after that. Johnson, how Mayfield, he's keeping up 3. They're 3-1. A big win over an alien Derek Carr that did not look good. Saints are, even with Kamara back, did not make a difference this week offensively. The Bucks, they hang on there. So a big win for the Bucks as well to go to 3-1 in the division. And if they just keep chopping up wins, there's a chance they steal this thing.
Yeah, Mayfield's been a surprise this year. He's been very effective for the Bucks, and it really looked like Derek Carr shouldn't even played in this game. He should have sat, and then Winston should have played.
I was going to say, how bad does that mean Winston looked? If Carr, who wasn't able to throw a football, we got the starting job over Jameis Winston.
He's got to be one of the higher paid backups, I would think. You know what I mean? I would think you could rely on this guy if you paid him that money. But
I feel like he's just a glue guy at this point. I feel like that's why new teams keep bringing him around because the teammates seem to love him. Teammates love playing for him, but I don't think they get much value of him out on the field. Maybe it's fun to laugh at him because his training session videos are like, that's pure comedy.
So when do we start to take them serious? Like they have to go to like 6-1 here or something like that? Is that when we start to kind of look at them a little bit more like, oh, this team actually could do something? Like seriously, like, you know what I mean?
If they're a legit division champion, so you win 10 games on the season, which means that you dominate your in-division games and you get lucky in a couple others, which I think they already have been, then I can see you're hosting at least one round of the playoffs. You get hot at the right time. If Baker decides to go on a run, then I can see something going on. But if it's like a 9-7, finish to the season. You're limping into the playoffs. You're just there because the Falcons, the Bucks, and everybody else, not the Bucks, the Falcons, the Panthers, and now I'm blanking on the last team that's out there. But everybody else just can't compete. So you're like, oh, okay, this is where we stand.
Got a guy here, Dirty Fanatics United, tuning in. Sorry about your L today in London. I had to get up at 6:30. I could only watch the Toy Story version because I didn't have ESPN Plus. So that was the only version I could watch when I tuned in. In Andy's room, as they kept saying on there. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate how everything's going well with you on a Sunday night here. We're kind of just talking a little bit of your division here with Tampa Bay and them going 3-1, now moving to there. What if we, the Falcons, they have that issue with Ritter a little bit. I guess this kind of goes to my next segment here, Jimmy. This is where you can probably talk about your team a little too. Wake up. What team or player in the NFL just needs to pick it up? Like, this is just pathetic at this point of the year.
I would say the Bengals are on that list. The Jets are on that list because who gives a shit? He busted his Achilles. Zach Wilson either has to figure out how to play or you got to find somebody else. If you just sit around, Salah's going to get fired. You don't have the luxury of time with the New York media. So I would say the Jets are a team that needs to wake up, figure out what they're going to be doing, but the Bengals are right up there on that list. You have all this talent, and it's the last year that you're going to have the talent because of Burrow's contract. So you're either going to waste it or you're going to do something with it. The Broncos, they definitely need to make sure that today leads them down a decent road, but being down 21 to Chicago and having to come back against a team led by Matt Eberflus, that doesn't bode well either. So there's a lot of teams that I think are just sleepwalking through the first month.
Well done saying that name. Impressive.
And then the other person I have to say that needs to pick it up is Justin Fields. I mean, you can put it all in the coaching staff and everybody else, but you blew that game today.
You couldn't beat a Vance Joseph defense, Justin Fields. You're not even the best Ohio State quarterback in the NFL right now because C.J. Stroud just got the Texans to – I had to take back what I said about the Texans because I looked it up. And they got a win today again. They beat the Steelers 30-6.
I think our guy Dirty Fanatics here has the Ritter maybe a little bit on his pick it up. I think that's what sounds what that is. We need to pick it up. It was funny watching the Toy Story version. I'm like, oh, that's a pick there. The way doing the little kid thing. So that was fun with it. He was getting ripped on all day early on Twitter, those London games. Jimmy, do you watch that London game?
We don't have ESPN Plus on the TV that I was watching on. I was watching the updates and scrolling on social media. I took the morning to be a productive human because I wanted to have all of the rest of the day to watch football, and then I decided football sucks, and I'm waiting for hockey season. That's what I'm doing. Getting lesson plans done. I'm doing my actual job instead of actually not wasting my time watching football because it sucks.
Well done on that side. I got to pick me up as my Raiders defense is pathetic right now. It's just absolutely just chopped.
I was so confused when I sat down at Chili's and saw number 4 playing quarterback for the Raiders. I was like, Carr came back.
AOC, baby. AOC. Aaron O'Connell. AOC. That's our boy. Brian, your Niners, they look good today, obviously. I thought Dobbs actually looked pretty good in the first half. Like you said, we were at a family event here, so that game was on the TV, so that was the game we were all locked in on. Obviously, McCaffrey just putting on a show. Just unfair.
It feels like he's like LaDainian Tomlinson that year that Phillip Rivers was on the Chargers and they went 15-2 or something, or 14-2.
The 14-2 season where they had the number 1 offense, number 1 defense, and lost in the first round. Yeah.
What do you got here, Jimmy? This looks like a question more for you here. All the mess I talked about Joe Burrow, I still drafted him in fantasy, and he has let me down since week 1. Is Joe Burrow healthy or not? Well, that's my true pickup.
No, he's not healthy. But here's the other thing. I think they give him 2 more weeks, and if they continue to lose and they continue to struggle, then they'll probably just sit him down. Because right now they're still right in the mess of things, especially with the Steelers losing, and they won't be able to win without Burrow at quarterback. I think they have Browning, then they just re-signed A.J. McCarron to the roster. Those are the other 2 options. So Burrow's option A, whether he's hurt, whether he has 1 leg or 2, he's the number 1 option that they're going to put out there. They just paid him a lot of money, and we all know Mike Brown doesn't like to waste money. So he's going to get all that $275 million out of what he's getting out of Joe Burrow. But he's not healthy. Nobody's really picking him up. I think they're all just waiting for him to be Superman, and Superman's compromised right now. So we got to help him out. We got to call better plays. We got to get the ball running because Joe Mixon's running like an animal, but we won't give him the ball as much as we need to. And the defense can't have letdowns. I'm sorry, but this year you have to be perfect. You've been able to get away with having a shitty first half and tightening up in the second half. You were down by 17 by the end of the first half. So you got to be perfect because the offense can't bail you out like they have been able to in the past.
I'm going to get the game up here just a little bit for people tuning in as well as you're talking about the Bengals. They're struggling. Jimmy, I got to give you credit. You know your team. And so when we got on early in the year, you kind of said this might be a possibility. And you could tell you sensed it a little bit with it. So in some ways, I'm not surprised just because you told me this might happen before the season. And, I was thinking it would not happen, but it goes to show you know your team a little bit better than the rest of us a little bit with that when it comes to that. So with a team that needs to pick it up, I don't know if this is a team that's going to win the division. Just a team I like to see show a little bit more life is the Panthers, a little more fight. I thought at the beginning they're kind of looking a little irrelevant. You know what I mean? Let's kind of see if we can show just not be a total pushover in that division. Let's see if we can make it a little hard on these other teams like the Falcons and them that will kind of struggle to that part. I don't want to see Tampa Bay run away with a division like that. They're not a great team. I want to see these guys kind of fight it out a little bit. So I hope they kind of do their part a little bit there too. And the Falcons, they're going to have to figure out their quarterback position, their situation there too. And then what's the deal with the Browns? Like what's going on? Like is Watson now out for a couple of weeks, or and then they have Chubb out? They look terrible today.
Maybe they need to schedule him for a couple more massages. I like if Dorian Thompson-Robinson's the quarterback, I might be able to jump back on board with the Browns because I'm only not liking what's going on with them because of who they have at quarterback. But I don't know. They're wasting a really good defense because they invested a lot of money, and Myles Garrett has now turned himself into a premier defensive player just in general. Micah Parsons, Aaron Donald, Nick Bosa, not Joey. Yeah. They're all in contention of being possibly the best football player in the league. You can put Fred Warner in there too. But all those guys are currently playing at such a high level that's they're on a different plane right now.
They're freakish right now with some of these things. So I like our wake up there. Baker will fold as he always does. We'll see. Let's see if he does. I mean, we'll see what happens. Like I said, Ritter's his competition. Bryce Young's his competition in a car with no right arm, apparently. It's his competition at the moment.
He did lose.
Mike Evans is no slouch.
He did lose to Jake Fromm in the Rose Bowl. It was one of my favorite college football games that I've ever watched, but he did lose to no-name quarterback. Granted, they had Sony Michel and Nick Chubb in the backfield on the other side, and I think Roquan Smith was the starting fullback, or not starting fullback, starting middle linebacker. So that Georgia team was pretty damn good, but Baker did lose in that big moment.
And that's true. You got that. Brian, he asked you the question: how does it feel to be 4-0? This expected. It sounds like you expected your team to go 16-0, right?
It feels damn good because Connor, I think, was getting a little salty there at the end of the game. Was getting frustrated. We were dominating him too much, so he had to push Ufunga. I thought Ufunga was just going to kill him right there, and Kittle came out of nowhere and pushed him out of the way. So
Zach Wilson might have learned how to play quarterback.
He looks all right now. What do we got, Jimmy, right now? Starting the third quarter.
He just threw a 30-yard seam down the center of the Chiefs' defense.
All right, I'll get this thing back on here so we can get a
little. It feels like the Jets' defense is they're putting a safety on Kelsey and taking him out of the game. So they're making somebody. They're making
pissing
Mahomes
every girlfriend off. All the girlfriends that are currently strapped to their couch trying to see when Taylor Swift is coming on, they're pissing all those girls off. Get the ball to Travis. Why wouldn't you just give it to Travis, please?
The Swifties, Jimmy? The Swifties?
Yes, the Swifties. Don't put me through a cruel summer. Make it a love story. Put Travis in the end zone. Make him kiss Taylor at the end of it. Perfect. Magic. Beautiful.
Movie comes out in 2 weeks, by the way. This is what I asked Brian before at our podcast this morning, Jimmy. I said, if this was March, would this be happening? Would they be dating? If this is March.
I think she's in Europe in March. I think she's going to Europe fairly soon here and going to be out there for a grip of time. And you can't tell me that she's not somebody that goes to Europe and doesn't have a line of suitors that are probably richer than Travis Kelce, as rich as he may be. That's why he's picking up all the endorsements. That's why he has the Campbell's. Yeah, the podcast, the Campbell's soup, the vaccine, the COVID vaccine commercial.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. They're hitting on what their market they have right now. That's the key, and they're taking advantage of it. I think it's kind of last week. You guys did a good job breaking it down on your show this week. It was just kind of funny. Me and Brian did a celebrity player kind of dating. It always goes hand in hand a little bit. But it's kind of funny. Like, you don't see it very often with big stars. You might see your minor like athlete and like
Swaggy
your minor
P
like,
and
celebrity.
Iggy Azalea. Yeah.
But like
That's
Kelsey
what I
now,
remember.
he's noted as like one of the best players, and she's got all the fan base and stuff like that. So
It shouldn't
Brian,
surprise us because of that damn reality TV. He tried to do a Rock of Love football version and it didn't
I
work.
forgot about that. I totally forgot he did that. He's always kind of been out there a little bit with trying things like that. We'll see. I've heard he's had some relationship issues as well, so we'll see where he goes on with that. Back to football, Brian. Your team is stacked. I must say, Kyle as an unreal play caller there.
That's why it's hard to beat, because you don't know where he's going to go every time. I mean, you could go McCaffrey with a pass, or you could go check, or it's like you just don't know where he's going to go.
And then everybody's like, "How does Ayuk get so open?" It's like, well, there's a reason why. There's a reason he's open.
They have to double cover Debo. They have to cover George Kittle. Then they have to make sure that Christian McCaffrey isn't going to run him over. And then Brock Purdy's just going to throw it over to Ayuk because nobody's standing there. Everybody else is trying to guard the 19. It's like fighting an octopus. You're getting punched with eight separate punches at the same time.
We got a comment here. We got Savage. Got a comment I really appreciate that. It's been, I don't know. It's just kind of one of those funny things that happened this week. So she's probably, I was wondering if she'd be at the game tonight in New York.
I think she is.
Yeah, I would say she is.
And then Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are there too.
Yeah. Oh, she's got that movie in 2 weeks. Like I said, if it was March, would they be dated? That's my thing.
What movie? What movie? I don't.
I guess she's doing
the stupid. Is it the concert movie?
Yeah, like stuff like that. That's what it is. Like stuff.
My girlfriend experienced a concert live, so I feel like I don't need to see that movie.
Is she a Swiftie?
She's the one that commented Savage because I did the whole. I'm setting the Swifties on fire right now.
The Swifties. It's kind of a funny name to me. Like, I like it. That's kind of like this guy has this funny.
They're probably all sitting on their couch and they see Zach Wilson and he's like, "Wow." I mean, I know Travis is cute, but like Zach, that looks like a guy you can bring. It's so much better for her. So much.
It's so much better.
He's Mormon. He's a holy man.
That'd be funny if she asks Kelsey's mom, "What do you know about Zach Wilson?"
Don't ask Kelsey's mom. Don't ask Kelsey's mom about Zach Wilson. We know what Zach Wilson does with moms.
Got a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's 2 touchdown passes that I've seen him throw already today.
Hey, Jimmy, it's funny they throw a touchdown here because this is my question of the week that I got here. Who's the worst starting quarterback in the NFL right now? And honestly, Zach Wilson, I think, was going to be right up there with their answers. He showed a little life. Doesn't make him not a terrible quarterback, but is there one that jumps to your head? Is it our guy here from Atlanta? Our guy, Dirty Fanatics United, watched his podcast the other night. I know they took the hard loss, but with him saying that, you think Ritter is the worst? Is there somebody else out there? Is it my boy AOC? Is it your guy Burrow? Who is it?
Burrow.
Burrow's the worst quarterback in the league right now.
No.
Wow.
He's just not getting any help. It sucks, Daren. I'm telling you, I had to go from being the laughingstock of the league for 23 years to now I've had 3 years to get me out of that. Now I have to go back. It sucks going back. I don't want him to get good again when they suck.
I'm sorry.
I just want him to be painful perpetually. But no, he's I would say probably the Garoppolo AOC. Garoppolo doesn't want to be a starting quarterback. I don't know why people continue to make him a starting quarterback. He would so much rather just be – he's a guy that would rather be the backup punter. He's like Alex Moran from Blue Mountain State. He just wants to be the backup. I don't want to be the starter because that's too much responsibility, but I want the trickle-down chicks from being a quarterback in the NFL. So Jimmy Garoppolo, I think, plus now AOC, because that was a bad throw. That interception where they had a chance to beat the Chargers, you got to recognize that. You're not playing in college anymore, bud. They play disguised zone defenses. It's not just check up, check ball, and let's go. There was a corner sitting right there the whole time in your face.
And that's the part where it's like you just.
And I've been dealing with this for 6 years, and I've been trying to tell people that Jimmy isn't the guy, and people thought I was crazy, but he just doesn't put in the off-season work to be great, and that's why
Yeah, what
He's
do you
looking
mean?
for
That's hard.
chips.
Come on. Come on. Some of us think I'm sure some men think he does perfectly fine in the offseason out there. I'm sure there's some guys that would.
Oh, he's living the life. He's the olive skin, the
I'm sure
Mediterranean
his
name.
off-season
So
work.
you guys think Jimmy's the worst? Zach Wilson now is off the hook because he's tied it at 20 here as we get into it?
I mean, I don't think either of them are good. I'm not
Yeah.
taking them over the
I'm
quarterback
going-
that I have. But
if being a good quarterback is throwing picks and getting babes, then Jimmy's a good quarterback.
Ryan, that's the answer. That's the answer.
he
That's
really,
coming.
I will say that he wanted that Super Bowl badly just so that he could sit on the bench for the rest of his career. Be like, I got a Super Bowl. I got a Super Bowl ring that I won. He's got 4
Ryan,
Super Bowl rings. What the hell am I saying? The dude's set. He doesn't want to do nothing.
There's many guys that have got through high school on that sentence, so that's well done, Brian. That's many guys that have got that is they've got through on that. That's great. All right, so you guys got Jimmy. I'm gonna go with our guy Ritter. He just hasn't looked comfortable in the 4 weeks that he has played. Everything looks like it's really off, and so not surprising there. All right, let's get to our news and notes here as we kind of get to the third quarter, middle of third here of our pod here. CJ Stroud throws for 306 yards. He's done it again, Jimmy. He looks like he's maybe Ohio State. They produced one, maybe possibly here. He does look a little bit better. They beat the Steelers. It looked great against my Raiders on defense. They let 30 by, even with the time off a little bit. So I don't know. What do you make of Stroud here? That again, he continues. What did I say here? What I wrote down, second most yards by a rookie. I mean, pretty legit. So are the Texans, can they make a little push here? Is that fake?
It may or may not be real. It would be so much easier to root for him if he didn't. It's just that whole school gives off the vibe. He never did anything that you really hated while he was at Ohio State, but I hated him because he was at Ohio State. It's just a natural thing for me. So I probably missed some things that I could have seen in his film. As of right now, it seems like he has a really good feel for if we can just end the drive with a kick, whether that's a punt, a field goal, or a PAT, then I'm golden. Like no turnovers through this much of the season for a rookie quarterback that has no talent, zero talent around him. And I think you have to throw in DeMeco Ryans too. He's got to be a good coach to play for. He reminds me a lot of Vrabel, who's in that same division. I think Houston they've gotten themselves over the stink of buying Deshaun Watson's hotel rooms, and CJ Stroud does look like he might be something in the future. I don't think that it's going to go this smooth all year, but he doesn't look bad. I would say you're seeing the same flashes that you're seeing from other guys around the league.
So in that division, you got Stroud, Richardson, and Lawrence. You look at those as your young quarterbacks there in that division. It's they're the definition of mid, though. They're all 2-2, so that's where they sit right now in the AFC South. The Titans win against the Bengals as well. That puts them at 2-2. They look very good against the Bengals. Brian, news and note here: Cowboys score twice. They blow out Bill. I mean, we got a good meme in that game. I was like, we ended up with one that we could use for a long time because of that after that fumble recovery. So I hope people got that one on there soon that I could use. So
I don't think it's day by day anymore.
Nope. no day by day when you don't have TB12. I mean, every week we're starting to get proven. Jimmy, they drop. They end up benching Mac Jones here. I don't know if you did see that where he did the face thing like that in slow motion. It was
at that point of the day, football was off my mind.
He retired at that point. You'll see it at some point. It will come up. It was just a real good response. But Mac Jones, he gets benched there. The Patriots falling apart. Brian, the Cowboys do face your Niners next Sunday night here.
I don't know. I feel like Dak Prescott's going to do something stupid and give us an opportunity and do what he always does against us, and that's why that's why we're the Cowboys' daddies lately.
That's a big game, Jimmy. I look forward to that one next Sunday. That'll be a good one.
It's the unfortunate thing for the 49ers is that the Cowboys have already had their letdown game early in the season, so they're going to be focused for at least another 2 weeks. I gave them another 2 weeks, and then they're going to start thinking that they're the shit again, and then they're going to lose to somebody that they shouldn't even be on the same field as. I think that they got the loss at the right time. They got caught in the trap game, so they should be ready. Today wasn't a trap game. I mean, they had to go in expecting more of a fight, but the Patriots they suck. They don't have the biggest Band-Aid of.
I love it though.
I'm not upset about it, but they just don't have the biggest Band-Aid of all time that they used to. So they're going to struggle, and they're going to continue to struggle because I don't think that they've done anything to try and rectify the situation.
Brian, I know you said obviously there's too much pressure on the line. You won't be able to come on next Sunday, but be sure. I mean, you might get a phone call during the line if they lose, because I definitely want to get you your reaction there with it. Jimmy, I got to get your quick. My favorite line with this guy. He's back on the show here. Murray, he won't come off the pup list. That's a little news here. A little no. He's practicing.
He's practicing for the esports championship. He can't come out. He can't come out and play in the NFL.
You guys there, the Cardinals there. They did show a little life today, but obviously, I mean, I'm not like this all-in Murray guy, but obviously, you know, they have a better chance with him there. They paid him like it, so that's obviously.
You don't think Josh Dobbs is the winner? He's never won at any level.
28-year-old, probably not at this point. If you're getting run there still, I would say
he he's a physicist. When he's not playing in the NFL, he's like he builds rockets and shit. Do that. You're so much better at that. You're a decent journeyman quarterback.
You make so much money, right? Last year in the playoffs.
Yeah, he was the guy that they tried to get into the playoffs in the last week of the season. If they would have beat the Jaguars and it was Dobbs that played in it, then they would have been in. But no, I mean, going back to Tennessee, he didn't do anything at Tennessee. He hasn't done anything in the league yet. He's continuing. I really thought that they were tanking. Maybe they just don't understand that that's what they're doing. Maybe it's a major league situation where the owner's like, continue to fucking lose, guys. Just lose so that I can get you the number 1 overall pick and we can start this over again. But right now, it's like they're just not talented.
Brian, if you watched every play, like I said, it was on, so I watched with the family all the way through the third quarter, so I had to leave and pull a freaking calf muscle. But that's another story. When I went there with it, the Cardinals actually did play the Niners tough. They did cut it to 21-30. I'm not saying like you guys, you probably felt like there was any doubt, but you probably were like, what the hell is going on here? Because that's what they were playing. The Cardinals did fight back a little bit there to give you guys a little bit of push. But Bears, they tell Claypool, stay home. We don't want you. He could have been a little useful today against the Broncos. The Bears just continue to stay a mess, Jimmy. They end up losing there. And then, Brian, we mentioned it with the Raiders, the AOC, but this is the big part of the news and note from the game. Our Khalil Mack, 6 sacks against the Raiders. He has 14 since joining the Chargers. He has 9 against the Raiders overall. I don't know, just crazy to me that number. The Raiders just continue to show that they're a pathetic franchise, and they just will not figure it out until they end up with a star quarterback, I guess. I just don't know what else to say about this team. It's pathetic. Pathetic. I'm frustrated with them. I'm supposed to do the show Tuesday night to break down the upcoming Packers Raiders game, and I'm like, what the hell? Where do you start? Where do I start with it? Yeah, like where do I? He's like, can you give me 3 notes? I can give you 100 notes. I can give you 100 notes on why they can't win a game. So pathetic there. Jimmy, I want to get your thoughts on this, though, real quick for our boy Rev. When we got Steelers, he suffers that knee injury. We're not sure if we get the update. They look terrible, like we said, against the Texans. They were looking good when they were here Sunday night with us. Like we said, 2020 game here in the game we got right now. But Kenny Pickett goes down, and then it's never good, right? If Mitchell is the backup, it's never good.
No, I don't. If Pickett is not there, then the Steelers might have to face the reality of a less than 500 season under Mike Tomlin. Yeah. I just don't know. I don't think that you should be expecting much as a Steelers fan. And I think Rev is one of those realistic Steelers fans. He sees the better side of things, but he is very good about being realistic, and he probably understands like it wasn't going to be this season anyways. So not having that quarterback, which was one of our only chances, now we have to rely on TJ Watt scoring 14 points in a game to be able to be close. I don't think that's going to happen much. And when your defense is on the field the way that their defense is going to be on the field, you're going to give up mistakes and you're going to give up a lot of points.
Can I go back to Khalil Mack real quick? Just ask you from an offensive lineman standpoint, if you're starting to get beat for 6 sacks, like I'm just saying, like, and you saw that last week with Hendricks. Like, is there anything you do? Like, can we get a little running back? I'm just saying, like, is it demoralizing to the ultimate here? Like, I'm just like, that's to me ridiculous when somebody gets 6 sacks.
Well, I mean, in my mind, before I give up the 6th sack, I'm gonna like after he beats me twice clean, I'm trying to cut block him. Like, just throw that out there so maybe I catch him good. Not saying that I want you. Don't try and hurt the guy, but if you can cut block him, make him fall on his face, maybe make him stop rushing you so hard before he gets to a level of confidence. But if you miss that cut block, then all bets are off. Because if he just dodges you, and then goes and sacks the quarterback again. You're like, I have no other. That's my one curveball. You knocked my curveball out of the park too. I guess you're just going to walk me back until my coach pulls me. I honestly, most offensive line coaches, I think it should be like a goalie in hockey. Like once they give up 3, 4, get them out of there because all you're doing is killing their psyche even more. Because if you give up 6 sacks in a game, you're going to go out there the next week and you're going to be afraid of giving up another 6 because it's possible now. Somebody literally beat you that badly, like a drum.
It's so bad. It's so bad. That's why I wanted to get your perspective.
Another really good story about a situation like that, Taylor Lewan, after it was not last season, but the year before, where Chandler Jones had him for like 4 or 5 sacks, the year that he was coming off of his ACL injury, his first one. He talked about it on his show too, and he's like, he had nothing to give because you're on the sidelines. You're like, I didn't mean to do this. I didn't mean to come out and look like this, but this is where we are.
No, that's a good point that there, especially with the way they've been playing. Like they bounce back. And then we got our guy here, Logan Stone, tuning in here. One of the originals, get him up, is Cowboys. Typical Cowboy season we were talking about just a little bit ago, Logan. They start off hot. They feel unstoppable, just waiting for them to lose 6 in a row and ruin the season because someone is stupid. Well, we'll see if they can make up for it next week. They have a big Sunday night game. They get a win against the Niners. That's a statement win early in the season. I mean, nobody here in this room on this pod thinks that's going to happen. But if they get it, that's a statement win. I know you're a baseball guy out there, Logan. Rangers did not win the division. Tough loss. Ouch. So we got that with it. With the Cowboys, Brian, that's going to be big next week. Obviously, going there. All right, hey. That's my news and notes here on the for week 4, going through it. A lot of things that happened, not necessarily, like I said, like the best like games out there, right, Jimmy? It wasn't like, oh, this game was unreal. Like we had the 2 that went to overtime, and then we had a few that kind of played out kind of as blowouts. Monday night here, we only got the single game now. We could call it here Monday night. We got the Seahawks as a 1.5 favorite. Brian, who do you like? You like Seattle to win on the road, or you like the Giants to pull it out? Barkley's still questionable. Sounds like it's probably more doubtful at this point, but you like the Seahawks to get it? They've looked a little better here. You think the Giants pull out a dub?
I think the Seahawks will win. I just have no faith in Daniel Jones.
It's so funny that we didn't mention him on the all-time bad quarterbacks. Like those were like wasn't the guy. Like he could easily be on that list too for somebody that just got paid, right? Like what a joke. He just gets paid and then we can't even match it up. So
I think it's his offensive coordinator needing to make him. Don't make him a pocket passer. He's a running quarterback. Make him run, and then he can open up with his arm. He's not a guy that's going to beat you from the pocket.
So, do you like Seattle to win this one?
I picked Seattle also. That was one that I stood behind. I said last week, I'm off my Giants take. They're not going to be in the NFC Championship. I'm no longer putting my eggs in their basket. So, yeah, Seattle's going to beat them because Geno looks good.
So I'm assuming you think they cover probably as well with a 1.5 on their.
Yeah, I think they probably win by a touchdown at least.
The one thing that will be kind of interesting, like when you look at that game, is Seattle. It always happens sometimes on Monday night where you're like, oh, this team should, they should win. They're coming, but a road game sometimes is still a road game, and the Monday night games can be weird. So it will be interesting to see how those play out. We don't have the doubleheader, so
they're also going to have the bad turf because they're playing on the same field tonight.
That's a good point there. What do we got score wise right now, boys?
2020 still.
2020 third quarter, right?
Yeah, it seems like Pacheco's having a hell of a game for the Chiefs.
And it's weird that the Chiefs can't be scoring anymore. They got off to such a red hot start there in the first quarter. Now they've really slowed down. Kudos to the Jets offense. Like you said, Wilson actually looking like he has a pulse in his life here, able to kind of get something going a little bit there at the end of the first half. So
we don't talk enough about the speed the Jets have on defense.
CJ Mosley is so bad.
Well, that's true, but CJ Mosley and Quinton Williams' little brother at linebacker, that's the best linebacker tandem that I've seen since the Tampa Bay Levante David and Devin White. Like those guys were sick playing next to each other, and that's what these two look like.
No, that's a good call there with it. And I my favorite combo of all time, Brian, I go to your Niners, Willis and Bowman. They were electric together. So we got our Monday night game there tomorrow. No doubleheader, like I said. All right, let's look ahead to week 5 here a little bit as we kind of get to the end here at our matchups here. Not a good Thursday night game. We got Chicago at Washington. That's definitely our other primetime game, like we mentioned already. Dallas at San Francisco. And then the Monday night game, Green Bay at Las Vegas. Those are the primetime games. A few interesting ones that kind of maybe stand out a little bit, just kind of based on a little bit of the record. Like the Houston-Atlanta one, it's not like a sexy matchup, but like one of these teams is going to go to 3-2. So that's going to be a big game. And then
Houston.
Jimmy, what do you think of Jacksonville at Buffalo? Like, I know it's like, well, Buffalo should win, but if Jacksonville wants to say, hey, we're part of this run here, we're part of this AFC fight, this is a game you win, right? To me, that's how I feel anyways.
Yeah, but I think you give the Bills the built-in excuse. Like, the Jaguars are staying out in London. They're used to it now. They're not traveling this week. You can make an excuse for the Bills to be able to say, okay, we lost, but there's extenuating circumstances. So I think that's the Bills are in a little bit less of a must-win situation. I agree with you for the Jaguars. Win this game, and especially if you can beat the Bills, you claim it as a home win because you want to move to London. But that's a good win that you can take for the rest of the season.
That's a good point there. They definitely do. Your Bengals, we were talking about it. They're at Arizona next week, right?
They're going to fucking lose.
Dobbs is not a quarterback. They better win this one.
They're going to lose. It's going to be bad.
Wow.
That defense is going to pound Joe Burrow because the offensive line won't know who to block, and Isaiah Simmons is just going to put the front part of his face mask right under Joe Burrow's chin right here. Get him knocked out of the game. So that is save him from his calf, knock him out. That's the only way that you can get him off the field.
Johnson, that's intense. I like that.
Man, if you don't have any confidence to beat Arizona, like you're folding up the season.
Where's my confidence coming from?
Yeah.
We just lost 27-3 to the Titans. Ryan Tannehill just put 27 on us. We didn't score a touchdown.
Some of the other morning games it's not to me a very good matchup. It's just like if you're an NFC North guy like with Jimmy or Baltimore at Pittsburgh, that's always one that stays true. Afternoon slate, kind of an interesting one. Philadelphia at Los Angeles Rams, kind of an interesting one. The offensive showdowns possibly there. That would just kind of be if Rams win that again, I'll kind of take them a little bit more serious. I don't know. This kind of just seems like it'll be a fun game, but you expect the Chiefs to win at the end. It's Chiefs at Minnesota. You can see that, right? Jimmy beat 34-31. Chiefs win at the end. Like, that's kind of what I can see happening with that game like that.
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota did win today. It was against Carolina, but now they have a little bit of momentum. It could be a wild one, but it also it looks like it's probably going to trend towards that's another statement win for Kansas City. Same way that they did against Chicago last week. You guys are cute, right? You're cute. You're going to beat us. You're going to give us a good game, 41-10.
Yeah, there you go. We'll show up. We'll beat you right there. Brian, I'm seeing a lot of punts here in this Jets Chiefs game. It looks like the defenses are really locked.
Taylor Swift looks bored as shit right now.
We got Taylor Swift showdown? Has she actually showed up? She's not happy with
it. You know what would be funny?
It
would be funny if she yelled at Mahomes and Mahomes would just turn his head around and say, "Don't go there."
What if Mahomes' wife went at him? Then we have a real drama. Then we got something cooking.
Please let there be a fight between Brittany Mahomes and Taylor Swift. Dear God, please. Anything that is holy. I just need that on my timeline. I need that. I need to be able to tweet about that and have that on my podcast. Please. Man. Uh-oh. Punt return.
Well, we got to hear on the Jets, right?
Yeah.
That
wasn't a punt return. That was just a long run. Breece Hall just turned the Chiefs defense inside out.
Where are we at on the yardage here on the return?
Let's see. They were at the 15.
Okay.
And they ran toss sweep, and Breece Hall went all the way to the opposite.
This would be a big upset, right? I mean, this is a huge upset.
This would be a huge upset.
Jets can pull this one off. Man.
That was like a 30-yard toss sweep. Breece Hall just got from the 15 all the way out to the Chiefs 35.
I mean, 45. Mahomes versus Zach Wilson. I mean, that's an upset right there. You have the Swifties against you as well. I mean, this would be an epic win right here. You get this,
and you got Ryan Reynolds in that crowd. You don't pull the game off.
I can't believe they're losing and they're wearing red.
It could be like that. The ultimate Jets like comeback night game. Brian, you probably remember it too. It's way back on Monday night when they came back and beat Jay Fiedler, the Dolphins. They Wade Charbet had that epic game. Maybe we get a little magic here with Zachary Wilson as we kind of we get to the end here of our show here on Talking the Gridiron here, brought to you by Variety Sports Network. Got Jimmy Pilato with me from far to the bench, Brian, the main man Johnson. Boys, we're at the end here. Game balls, let's go there. Who's your player or team? Who stood out the most? Who gets the game ball this week? Brian, I'll give you first one. Who you got? Who gets the game ball for you?
I don't think we even have to question it. Christian McCaffrey.
I already had it ready for you, brother. Right there. I had the graphic ready to roll for you. Right there. I knew you were going there.
He just decided I'm going to take all the touchdowns today, and Ayuk was kind of like probably put his hands up and said, "Can you throw one my way?"
Man, he made some fantastic catches today. Fantastic.
It's sick to think about because the way that you guys see him and the way that he's so much better than all the NFL players that he plays against. I saw him in youth and high school football, and that was just. I remember my high school played their high school. It was my freshman year, and he was running down on kickoff. Hit our guy. Our kick returner was at the 10, tackled him, knocked his helmet all the way back through the back of the end zone. And then had 2 pick sixes. I think he played one series of offense against us, scored, and then he was on defense for the rest of the game and still scored more than our offense combined.
I mean, the fact that you got to see him like that too is crazy. That you got to see and he's strong, Jimmy. You said you turned it off, but maybe you did see the one where he hurdles the guy. If not, you'll see it at some point. He runs, hurdles a guy, gets a touchdown. That's just an unreal run. That's something you're not surprised about. So, Brian, that's a good game ball there.
If you want to have some fun, look up his high school highlights from Valor Christian.
Valor Christian. All right.
Valor Christian from Highlands Ranch, Colorado. It's like an 8-minute video of just touchdown, 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 toss sweep, touchdown, counter, touchdown.
It's like when I watch Randy Moss videos of him in high school, and those are always my favorite ones. Jimmy,
I would say it's up there with Vince Carter's and one dunk tape.
Dude, some of Vince Carter's dunks in high school were just insane. He had one that's just ridiculous. I don't even know how it's not viral yet. Jimmy, who do you got for game ball?
I will give my game ball to I was going to give it to the Titans defense, but I'll give it to Derrick Henry because he's had a rough season. He looked better. As bad as it was for him to beat my team like that, I did have him in my fantasy lineup. So he finally actually produced there. I still lost, I think, both. You killed me in Terrell's league, and then I think I got beat in the other one too. So didn't have a good week overall. Football sucks. It's hockey season.
Yeah, Jimmy's in there. We got to do fantasy hockey, Jimmy. We'll help you with that one. We could get our
I like fantasy hockey. I do enjoy fantasy hockey.
We could do that. So game ball there with it. My game ball, we keep it for you, Jimmy Lolo. When the Broncos come back, they do show a little life. There is a little pulse there in the Colorado Rockies.
You don't get points for trying. This is a pity trophy. Pity game ball. Oh yeah, you got a 21-point comeback. You were playing the Bears. You were down by 21 to the Bears.
How about, can we go to the Lions? I thought the Lions. Can I go to Thursday real quick?
Lions, yes. The Lions I will accept. We could give it to David Montgomery if you want to.
Man, he would look studly. I mean, that was a Packers game where, like, right away, Goff throws the interception. They could have easily kind of folded right there. They end up just putting on a show in the first half. So that was a very impressive win. Like I said, the Raiders, they need to get this win against the Packers to have any hope. You cannot be losing to the Packers. They look a little lost. So those are our game balls for the week. Guys, good show this week. I thought we covered a lot. We went over the game here. We're in live with it. And believe it or not, out of all the games so far that have been pretty good, this is the one on Sunday night. Like, some of the games have been blowouts, but I honestly thought this one was going to be a complete blowout after the start.
He fumbled the snap and still got a first down.
Where are they at? Are they on the 10-yard line right now? Is that where they're at, headed over there?
They're at the 23. They just got a first down, getting past the 23.
This would be the biggest upset of the year so far. This was supposed to be a big game.
The Chiefs have the ball again. I don't know what happened, but the Chiefs have the ball again.
They punted there a little. They punted over there. They got to the one that looks like they got it out of their goal line. So, Jimmy, you guys had a busy week on your pod. What do you guys got going on this week? You guys into your usual thing, or what do you got going on?
Yeah, I said it this morning. So the new Sunday Scaries is out, episode 6. It was a little bit shorter. I'm going to do every other week with that show, but Top of the Mountain every Friday. Far End of the Bench comes out every Thursday on our show and on VSN's feed. So you can check it out anywhere. Be sure to tell your friends about it. We've been starting to post some new digital content also. Got somebody that's been making some pretty cool videos. So we're going to keep putting those out as we continue to get them. But other than that, follow at FEOTB Pod, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We got content coming out to you at least an hour and a half of content every single week. So,
you guys have been putting out stuff left and right. You've been grinding, like I said. So, mad respect to you for that. With that, like I said, Variety Sports Network. Brian's got the TMD podcast going on. Brian, you guys got a lot to talk about this week. Tyler back from his bachelor party.
Hopefully he won't have too bad of a headache on the show.
We'll see if he actually got to even watch the game or if he slept through it on the way home today. So we'll look forward to checking out your TMD podcast. Tyler's got that wedding coming up next month, so he'll be a married man here in less than 34 days. He's got a lot of the light here. So hopefully he had a good time out there. In Lake Tahoe. That's where he was out there with his bachelor party with his brothers and family out there. So hope you had a good time there. So Brian, you'll be doing that. We're going to take a break from Fat Boy Fadeaway. Jimmy, I would admit it in a little announcement here on the pod. I just needed a breather. Just like everything going on. You got a lot. We've been doing the Talkin the Gridiron. I got 7th inning stretch kind of coming up with the playoffs here in baseball. And then we're going to do a little basketball. We might do some emergency pods here and there, but we're just going to take a little break. We're going to come back in November, come a little stronger. Just kind of need a little mental break there with that stuff. So especially with doing the Sunday night show here already, I kind of feel like it's doubling up a little bit. So kind of want to focus more on Talking the Gridiron here as we kind of get into the meat and potato here of the season. So taking a little break, little Fat Boy Fan, but be sure, Talking the Gridiron. I love doing this with Jimmy and Brian when he can make it. I know Brian's going to wuss out next week and not be on with us with the Cowboys Niners, but
I should just come on because we'll probably end up dominating the Cowboys.
Yeah, there you go. That's the job that I want.
I hope the Cowboys wear the stupid ass white with the star on the shoulder and they win by 14 points. Make it the 90. I want the 95 NFC Championship jerseys.
Compliments from Chris Collinsworth. 3. I'm calling it right now. 3.
Chris Collinsworth over under. Chris will not give the Giants any love. I'm with you, Jimmy. I want them to wear those 95 uniforms. Come out. Show the Niners who's boss there.
Put Dion out at quarterback. I don't care what it takes. Charles Haley. I don't want them to be the last undefeated team. I think are they almost already? I'm pretty sure.
Niners, it's us and the Eagles now.
Yeah. Please let it go to Philly. I've never said that before in my life, but please let Philly win this one.
Wow, Jimmy's harsh on Philly. That means a lot there. So I love that, Jimmy. Little there. So Brian,
I feel like Chris might be a little bit salty on Sunday night because his Bengals aren't doing too well.
Oh yeah, he's gonna go there with it. He'll be what if Chris is in the hoodie next?
Hurt people. Okay, hurt people. That's all I'm gonna say. That's what I'm leaving everybody with.
That'd be great if Chris Collinsworth was in the hoodie like Jimmy is this week because of the sick feeling. That would be great. That'd be the. So
I am white. I am a bum. I do live in a trailer with my mom. I do got a dumb friend named Cheddar Bob who shoots himself in his leg with his own gun.
Very impressive. Wow, that's better than I can do with that. That was quick as well.
Jump by 6 of you chumps. And Burrow still doesn't have a bum calf.
And I can hear him on a calf right now. My freaking calf is killing me. But Talking the Gridiron here, week 4, week 5, we're going to pick it up. Like I said, we're starting to get the meat and potatoes here of the season that we'll kind of start to get what I always say, teams start to separate a little bit here over the next 4 weeks. So we'll kind of see what happens there with it. Please support us at Talking the Gridiron. We put in the time for it. We'd love to get your guys' support with it. Like and subscribe. We're not trying to just do it for breathing oxygen reasons. So hopefully you guys can support us along the way with that. Support the other channels here on Variety Sports Network. Brian the Man Johnson, appreciate you coming on. Jimmy Pilato, far end of the bench. Be sure to check them out. Till next week, Talking the Gridiron. Out. Peace.
Hey, this is Brandon, CEO of the Variety Sports Network. Thank you again for watching tonight's show. Best way you can support us is by hitting that subscribe button, that like button, and hitting the notifications so you don't miss out on the next show right here on the Variety Sports Network.